The transport ship made a soft sound as it landed on the space station. Inside, Park Hannah sat in a seat that was too small for her body. Her knees pressed against the seat in front of her. Her shoulders were too wide for the armrests. Everything in space was built for aliens, not humans. Hannah looked out the window at her new home. The Galactic Military Academy floated in space like a giant metal flower. Lights blinked on its surface. Ships moved around it like tiny insects. This would be her home for the next 4 years. "Attention passengers," said a voice from the speakers. "We have arrived at Kepler 7 station. Please exit slowly and follow the blue lights to customs." Hannah stood up. Her head almost hit the ceiling. The other passengers looked at her with wide eyes. She was used to this. Humans were big compared to most aliens. They were also heavy and strong. Too heavy and too strong, some aliens thought. She picked up her bag and walked to the exit. Each step made a loud sound on the metal floor. The other passengers moved out of her way. Some looked scared, others looked curious. A few whispered to each other in languages she did not know. The door opened and Hannah stepped onto the station. The gravity felt light under her feet. Earth's gravity was much stronger. Here, she had to be careful not to jump too high when she walked. She had to be careful not to break things when she touched them. The customs officer was an Altarian. His skin looked like blue crystal. His eyes were large and yellow. He scanned Hannah's documents with a device that beeped and flashed. "Name?" he asked in basic English. "Park Hannah," she said. "Planet of origin, Earth." The officer's eyes got wider. He looked at his screen, then at Hannah, then back at his screen. "Earth," he said slowly. "Class 12 Deathworld." "Yes," Hannah said. The officer called over another alien. This one had green skin and 4 arms. They talked in a language that sounded like singing. They kept looking at Hannah while they talked. "Is there a problem?" Hannah asked. "No problem," the first officer said quickly. "Just we have never processed a human before. You are the first human at the academy. The first human anywhere in this sector," the green alien said. "We had to change our medical equipment for you, and our furniture, and our food systems." Hannah felt her face get hot. She was already causing problems, and she had not even started school yet. "I'm sorry for the trouble," she said. "No trouble," the first officer said, but he did not sound like he meant it. "Welcome to Kepler 7 station. Follow the yellow line to the academy entrance." Hannah picked up her bag and started walking. The yellow line on the floor led through wide corridors filled with aliens. She saw Altarians with their crystal skin. She saw vegans with large heads and tiny bodies. She saw Centaurians who moved so fast they looked like blurs. Everyone stared at her. A group of Altarian cadets stopped talking when she walked by. They watched her with their big yellow eyes. One of them said something that made the others laugh. Hannah did not understand the words, but she knew they were talking about her. The academy entrance was a huge door made of metal and glass. Above it were words in 20 different languages. In basic English it said, "Galactic Military Academy, where species unite." Inside, more aliens waited in lines. They were all young, all cadets like her. But they were all so different from her. They were thin where she was thick. They were light where she was heavy. They moved like dancers. She moved like a soldier. A vegan woman in a uniform walked up to her. She had purple skin and a head twice the size of a human head. Her name tag said, "Commander Votar." "You must be Cadet Park," she said. Her voice was soft and musical. "Yes, ma'am," Hannah said. "I am Commander Velt. I will be your primary instructor." She looked Hannah up and down. "You are larger than our files indicated." "I'm sorry, ma'am. Do not apologize for your biology, cadet. Follow me. We need to complete your medical evaluation." They walked through more corridors. Other cadets moved out of their way. Some pointed and whispered. Hannah heard the word Deathworlder several times. The medical center looked like a hospital, but everything was white and clean and quiet. Strange machines hummed and beeped. Alien doctors in white coats looked at screens covered with numbers and charts. Cadet Park, Commander Veltar said to a doctor with 4 eyes. She needs a full evaluation. The doctor's 4 eyes all looked at Hannah at the same time. A human, he said. Fascinating. I have read about your species, but never seen one in person. Is that good or bad? Hannah asked. That depends, the doctor said. Please step on this scale. Hannah stepped on the scale. Numbers appeared on a screen. The doctor's 4 eyes got very wide. That cannot be correct, he said. He checked the machine. He had Hannah step off and step back on. The same numbers appeared. What's wrong? Hannah asked. You weigh 3 times more than any other cadet, the doctor said. Are you carrying something? Heavy, just my bones and muscles, Hannah said. The doctor made notes on his tablet. Your bone density is incredible. Your muscle mass is beyond anything we have on record. And your heart. He listened to her chest with a strange device. Your heart is like a machine, so strong. More tests followed. They tested her blood, her reflexes, her vision, her hearing. With each test, the doctors looked more amazed and more worried. Her reaction time is faster than a Centaurian, one doctor whispered to another. Her night vision is better than a cave dweller from Proxima, another said. And her pain tolerance, a third doctor shook his head. She did not even react when we took her blood sample. Commander Veltar watched all of this with growing concern. Finally, she called Hannah aside. Cadet Park, she said. Your test results are ... unusual. Bad unusual, or good unusual? Hannah asked. That remains to be seen. You are physically superior to every other species at this academy. Your strength, speed, and durability are far beyond normal parameters. Is that a problem? Commander Veltar was quiet for a long moment. Potentially, we have never trained a Deathworlder before. Your home planet made you into something that our safety protocols were not designed to handle. I won't hurt anyone, Hannah said quickly. I believe you mean that, Commander Veltar said. But meaning and doing are different things. We will have to create special training programs for you, special equipment, special rules. Hannah felt her heart sink. She was different. She was dangerous. She was a problem that no one wanted to deal with. Maybe I should go home, she said quietly. No, Commander Veltar said firmly. You earned your place here, just like every other cadet. We will make this work. But you must understand, you will be watched closely. Every move you make, every action you take, will be studied and recorded. Some people think humans are too dangerous for the galaxy. You will have to prove them wrong. As they walked back through the corridors, Hannah felt the weight of 1,000 alien eyes watching her. She was the first human at the academy. She might be the last, depending on what happened next. The test had only begun. 3 months had passed since Hannah arrived at the academy. Her dorm room was on the top floor of the cadet building. The bed was too short, so her feet hung over the edge. The desk was too low, so she had to bend down to write. Everything was still too small, but she was getting used to it. Her roommate was Kim Day, an Altarian girl with skin like blue glass. Day was thin and delicate, the opposite of Hannah in every way. At first, they did not talk much. Day spoke through musical sounds, and Hannah spoke with words. They used a translation device to understand each other, but slowly, they became friends. Tell me about Earth Day, would ask through the translator. Her voice sounded like wind chimes. It's dangerous, Hannah would say. The weather can kill you. Animals hunt each other all day. Plants have poison. Even the air can be harmful in some places. How do humans survive? Day asked. We adapt, we fight, we get stronger. Day would shake her head in wonder. Her people lived on a peaceful world with gentle weather and no predators. The idea of a planet trying to kill its children was impossible for her to understand. In return, Day taught Hannah about the galaxy. She explained the different alien species, their cultures, their technologies. She helped Hannah with her studies when the math got too hard or the science got too complex. Your brain is built for survival, Not for quantum physics, Day explained. One night, as they worked on homework. But you can learn. Humans are good at adapting. Classes were difficult for Hannah. The other cadets had bigger brains or faster processors or natural abilities that made learning easy. Hannah had to work twice as hard to keep up. She stayed up late every night, reading and studying and practicing. Physical training was different. In combat class, Hannah was unstoppable. She moved faster than the instructors expected. She hit harder than the training equipment could measure. She could lift weights that required 3 alien cadets working together. The first time she sparred with another cadet, she accidentally broke his arm. She barely touched him, but her human strength was too much for his alien bones. The medical team fixed his arm in minutes, but word spread quickly through the academy. The Deathworlder is dangerous, cadets whispered in the hallways. She broke Kim's arm without even trying, others said. What happens when she gets angry? Commander Veltar called Hannah to her office after the incident. Cadet Park, she said, we need to discuss your training modifications. I didn't mean to hurt him, Hannah said. I was being as gentle as I could. I know. That is the problem. Your gentle is stronger than most species' maximum effort. We are creating new protocols for you. From then on, Hannah trained alone, or with special equipment. She practiced combat moves against metal dummies instead of living partners. She lifted weights that could crush a normal cadet. She ran on treadmills that had to be reinforced to handle her footsteps. It was lonely, but slowly, some cadets began to approach her. The first was Lee Borum, a Centaurian with natural speed. Centaurians could move so fast they became blurs, but Borum was curious about Hannah's different kind of speed. You move like a predator, Borum said one day after watching Hannah train. Not fast, but smooth, powerful. On Earth, predators hunt prey, Hannah explained. We learn to move like them. Can you teach me? Borum became Hannah's first real friend besides Day. They trained together, with Borum using her speed and Hannah using her strength. They learned from each other. Borum taught Hannah how to move more efficiently. Hannah taught Borum how to hit with more power. Next came Choi Minho, a half-human, half-Altarian hybrid from the outer colonies. His father was human, his mother, Altarian. He looked mostly human but with blue streaks in his hair and slightly larger eyes. I have never met a full human before, he told Hannah. My father died when I was young. I grew up with my mother's people. What was your father like? Hannah asked. Strong, stubborn. He never gave up on anything. Minho smiled. Like you, Minho helped Hannah with her technical studies. His hybrid brain could process information like an Altarian but think creatively like a human. Together, they worked through complex problems that had been giving Hannah trouble. The last to join their group was Yoon Sae Jin, a vegan girl with minor telepathic abilities. Vegans were peaceful by nature, but Sae Jin was fascinated by human culture. Your species confuses me, she told Hannah honestly. You are violent, but also kind. You are warriors, but also protectors. How can you be both? We protect the things we love, Hannah said. Sometimes that means fighting. Sae Jin became their communications specialist. Her telepathic abilities helped the group coordinate during training exercises. She could sense emotions and intentions, which made her valuable in tactical planning. The 4 of them became Squad 7. They trained together, studied together, and ate together in the cafeteria. Other cadets still stared at Hannah, but now she was not alone. She had friends who accepted her. Their first real test came during a survival exercise. All the squads were dropped into a holographic wilderness based on different dangerous planets. The simulation was designed to test their teamwork, problem-solving, and survival skills. Squad 7 found themselves in a jungle environment based on a Class 8 death world. Holographic predators hunted them through the trees. Poisonous plants blocked their path. The weather changed from burning heat to freezing cold without warning. Other squads used technology to avoid the dangers. They had shields, scanners, and weapons to keep the predators away. They found safe paths through the jungle and built shelters. To hide from the weather, Squad 7 did things differently. When a pack of holographic wolf creatures attacked them, the other cadets expected Hannah to use her weapons. Instead, she dropped them and charged the pack with her bare hands. The creatures were just holograms, but the simulation made them seem real. They had claws and teeth, and the strength of real predators. Hannah fought them like her ancestors had, fought real wolves on ancient Earth. She used her human endurance to outlast them. She used her human intelligence to outthink them. She used her human stubbornness to never give up. While she kept the predators busy, Burim used her speed to scout ahead. Minho used his technical skills to find water sources. Sajin used her telepathy to coordinate their movements and warn them of dangers. They worked as a team, each using their natural abilities to help the others. The exercise was supposed to last 3 days. Squad 7 completed it in 18 hours. When the simulation ended, they had the highest score in Academy history. But Hannah noticed the looks on the instructors' faces. Some looked proud. Others looked worried. A few looked scared. Excessive force has no place in modern military doctrine, Commander Veltar told her after the exercise. I didn't use weapons, Hannah pointed out. You didn't need weapons. That is what worries them. That night, Day's translation device picked up conversations she was not supposed to hear. Instructors talking in private channels. Words like dangerous and uncontrollable and threat assessment. They are afraid of you, Day told Hannah quietly. I know, Hannah said. The question is, what are they going to do about it? Graduation was only 2 weeks away. Hannah's grades had improved greatly thanks to help from her friends. She was not the smartest cadet in her class, but she was no longer failing her courses. Her combat scores, however, were impossible for the instructors to ignore. She had broken 3 training simulators in the past month. The first one cracked when she punched it too hard during a reflexes test. The second one melted when her body heat got too high during an endurance trial. The third one simply could not calculate her maximum strength. The numbers went beyond what the machine was built to measure. These machines cost more than most planets make in a year, Commander Veltar told her after the third incident. We cannot keep replacing equipment every time you train. I'm trying to be careful, Hannah said. I know. That is what makes this so concerning. Strange things had been happening around the academy. Hannah noticed instructors watching her more closely than before. They stood in groups and whispered when she walked by. Security cameras followed her movements more than they followed other cadets. Day had been picking up more conversations through her harmonic abilities. The translation device could not always make sense of what she heard, but certain words kept coming up. Threat, dangerous, mistake, and solution. They are planning something, Day told her friends one night in their dorm room. Professor Catherine has been meeting with other instructors after classes. They talk about Hannah when they think no one can hear them. Professor Catherine taught alien relations and galactic politics. He was an old Altarian with grey crystal skin and cold yellow eyes. He had never liked humans, even before Hannah arrived. In his classes, he often talked about how violent and unpredictable Earth species were. Humans have been at war for their entire recorded history, he would say during lectures. They fight each other, they fight their environment, they fight everything. This is not behavior suitable for civilized galactic society. Hannah always stayed quiet during these lectures, but she felt the other cadets looking at her. Some looked sympathetic, others looked like they agreed with the professor. Borum decided to investigate. Her Centaurian speed let her move through the academy without being seen. She could slip into rooms, listen to conversations, and leave. Before anyone noticed her, what she discovered made her scared. There is a group of them, she told the others in a secret meeting in an empty classroom. Professor Kethron, Captain Mordok from the tactical department, and at least 6 other instructors. They meet every night after the late shift. What do they talk about? Minho asked. Hannah, they think she is too dangerous to graduate. They think all humans are too dangerous to join the galactic military. That's not fair, Sajin said. Hannah has never hurt anyone on purpose. They don't care about fair, BRM continued. They have been recording her training sessions. But they edit the recordings to make her look worse. They make her appear more violent and less controlled than she really is. Hannah felt cold inside. Why would they do that? To build the case against humans, Minho said grimly. If they can prove that even the best human cadet is dangerous, they can convince the Galactic Defense Council to ban all humans from military service. They could quarantine Earth, they added. Cut your planet off from the rest of the galaxy. The friends sat in silence for a moment. This was bigger than just Hannah's graduation. This was about the future of her entire species. There's more, Bioram said quietly. I heard them talking about a permanent solution to the human problem. What kind of solution? Hannah asked, though she was afraid to know the answer. They want to eliminate you during what will look like a training accident. Then they will use your death as proof that humans are too dangerous even for themselves. The room went completely quiet. Hannah felt her heart beating faster, but not from fear, from anger. These aliens wanted to hurt her and use her death to hurt her entire species. When? She asked. Soon, before graduation. They are setting up a special training exercise for you. Something about advanced combat evaluation in the isolated training facility. We have to warn the Academy Administration, Saejin said. With what proof? Minho asked. Bioram's word against 6 instructors. They will deny everything and then move their plan somewhere else. We could record them, they suggested. Too risky, Boram said. If they catch us, they will know we are onto them. They might move faster. Hannah stood up and walked to the window. Outside, she could see the stars. Somewhere out there was Earth, her home planet. Billions of humans who had no idea that their future in the galaxy depended on what happened in the next few days. There's something else, Bahram said hesitantly. This conspiracy goes beyond just the Academy. I heard them mention contacts in the Galactic Defense Council, the Interspecies Trade Commission, and the Diplomatic Corps. Important people throughout the galaxy are involved. How is that possible? Saegn asked. Fear, Minho said. They are all afraid of what humans might become if we join galactic society. They see Hannah's abilities and they imagine millions of humans with the same strength and determination. They're not wrong to be afraid, Hannah said quietly. Humans are dangerous. We come from a world that tried to kill us every day. We learned to fight back, but you don't want to hurt anyone, Day said. No, I don't, but I will if I have to. If someone threatens me, or my friends, or my planet, I will fight back with everything I have. That's exactly what they're afraid of, Minho said. Over the next few days, the friends tried to gather more information. Sagn used her telepathic abilities to sense emotions from the conspirators. She felt fear, anger, and determination from them. They believed they were saving the galaxy from a terrible threat. Day continued to intercept their communications. The plan was becoming clearer. They would call Hannah to a special training session in Facility Block C, the most isolated part of the station. There would be an accident during the exercise. Emergency systems would malfunction. By the time help arrived, it would be too late. We have to do something, Boram said during another secret meeting. Like what? Minho asked. If we warn Hannah not to go, they will know we discovered their plan. They will just try again later. Maybe I should go, Hannah said. Maybe I should face whatever they have planned. That's suicide, Saegn said. Maybe. Or maybe it's the only way to expose them. If they try to kill me and fail, everyone will see what they really are, and if they succeed. Day asked. Hannah looked at her friends. These aliens who had accepted her when no one else would, who had helped her succeed when everyone expected her to fail, who were willing to risk their own futures to protect her. Then you make sure the galaxy knows the truth about what happened, she said. The next morning, Hannah received a message on her personal communicator. It was from Commander Veltar, asking her to report to Facility Block C for an emergency combat evaluation. The message said it was urgent and classified. Hannah showed the message to her friends. "This is it," Bjorn said. "This is their trap." "I know," Hannah said. "You don't have to do this," Minho said. "Yes, I do. I'm not just representing myself anymore. I'm representing every human who will ever want to reach for the stars." As Hannah prepared to leave for what might be her final training session, her friends made their own preparations. If the conspirators wanted to eliminate the human problem, they were about to learn something important about humans. They never gave up without a fight. Hannah walked through the empty corridors toward Facility Block C. Her footsteps echoed in the silence. It was late in the evening, and most cadets were in their dorms studying for final exams. The hallways that were usually busy with alien students were now dark and quiet. Block C was the oldest part of the station. It had been built for heavy weapons training and dangerous experiments. The walls were thicker here, the rooms were larger, and everything was designed to contain explosions and other accidents. It was the perfect place for someone to disappear. Hannah's human instincts were screaming at her. Every sense she had was telling her to turn around and run. Her ancestors had survived on Earth by listening to these warnings. When something felt wrong, it usually was wrong, but she kept walking. The door to Training Room 7 was already open. Inside, the lights were dimmed to simulate nighttime conditions. Hannah could see clearly in the darkness. Human night vision was much better than most alien species. This was another gift from her dangerous home planet. "Hello," she called out Commander Veltar. "I'm here for the evaluation." No answer. Hannah stepped into the room. It was larger than the normal training rooms, with metal walls and a high ceiling. Equipment was scattered around: practice weapons, obstacle course pieces, and computer terminals. But something was wrong with the setup. It looked too random, too messy, like someone had arranged it quickly to hide something. The door closed behind her with a soft click. Hannah spun around and tried to open it. The handle would not move. The door was locked from the outside. "This is Cadet Park," she said into her communicator. "I'm locked in Training Room 7. Please send assistance." Static answered her. The room was blocking her signal. Now Hannah's instincts were not just warning her, they were screaming. Her heart rate increased, her muscles tensed. Her body was preparing for a fight. She moved deeper into the room, keeping her back to the wall. Her enhanced hearing picked up small sounds, the hum of machines, the whisper of air through vents, and something else: breathing. There were other people in this room. 3 figures stepped out from behind the equipment. They wore Academy security uniforms, but their faces were covered by dark masks. Each one carried a plasma rifle, the kind used for lethal combat, not training. "Cadet Park," one of them said. His voice was electronically disguised. "You should not have come here." "I was ordered to report for evaluation," Hannah said. "Yes, and now you will be evaluated. Your species will be judged by what happens next." The first shot came without warning. A bright blue bolt of plasma energy flew across the room and hit Hannah in the left shoulder. The energy burned through her uniform and into her flesh. The pain was incredible, like being stabbed with a red-hot knife. Any normal alien would have been killed instantly. Plasma weapons were designed to stop even the toughest species. But humans were not normal aliens. The bolt burned deep into Hannah's shoulder muscle, but it missed the major blood vessels. Her dense bone structure absorbed some of the impact. The heat of the plasma actually helped by sealing the wound as it made it. Hannah spun around from the force of the impact, but stayed on her feet. The attackers looked surprised. They had expected her to fall down dead. The second shot hit her in the center of her chest. This one was aimed at her heart. It should have killed her for sure. The plasma energy burned through her ribs and scorched her lung, but her heart was protected by the thick muscle and bone that evolution had given her. Hannah dropped to one knee, gasping for air. Blood ran down her uniform, but she was still alive, still conscious, still angry. The third shot was aimed at her head. If it had hit exactly where they aimed, it would have ended everything. But as the shooter pulled the trigger, Hannah threw herself to the side. The plasma bolt grazed her temple, burning skin and hair but missing her brain. The attackers moved forward to finish the job. They had been told that humans were tough, but this was beyond what they had expected. How was she still alive? They did not understand what they had done. They had not just shot a human, they had wounded one. And a wounded human was not a helpless victim. A wounded human was the most dangerous thing in the galaxy. Pain did not make humans weak, it made them angry, it made them desperate. It made them fight with a fury that civilized species could not understand. Hannah's vision changed. Everything became sharp and clear. Her heart pumped faster, sending blood and oxygen to her muscles. Chemicals flooded her system, adrenaline, endorphins, and other hormones that turned her body into a weapon. The attackers had made a terrible mistake. They thought they were hunting a helpless cadet. Instead, they had awakened something that had survived millions of years on the most dangerous planet in the galaxy. The first attacker reached her just as she stood up. He raised his rifle to shoot again. Hannah's hand closed around the barrel of the weapon and crushed it like paper. The attacker stared in shock as his weapon crumpled in her grip. Hannah's other hand found his throat. She lifted him off the ground with one arm and threw him across the room. He hit the metal wall with a sound like thunder and did not get up again. The second attacker tried to run. Humans were supposed to be slow compared to other species, but this human was running on pain and fury and the desperate need to survive. She caught him before he reached the door. What happened next was quick and final. The third attacker managed to activate an emergency beacon before Hannah reached him. His message was simple, code red. Human containment failure. Send help immediately. But there was no help coming for him. When the violence was over, Hannah stood alone in the training room. 3 bodies lay scattered around her. Blood covered the walls and floor, some of it theirs, most of it hers. She was badly hurt, but she was alive. The attackers were not. Emergency alarms began to sound throughout the station. Red lights flashed. In the corridors, automated systems detected the weapons, fire and blood in the training room and initiated lockdown protocols. Heavy blast doors slammed shut around training room 7. These doors were designed to contain explosions that could damage the station. They were made of metal and composites, stronger than most starship hulls. Magnetic locks engaged with enough force to hold back a battleship. Nothing was supposed to be able to break through those doors. Nothing except a human who had been pushed too far. Hannah walked to the sealed exit. On the other side, she could hear voices, her friends calling her name, security teams shouting orders, instructors demanding answers. She put her hands on the blast door. The metal was cold against her burned and bloody palms. 3 plasma shots had failed to kill her. Now she would show the galaxy what happened when you cornered a human and left them no choice but to fight back. The door began to bend. Outside training room 7, chaos filled the corridors. Emergency lights flashed red across the walls. Alarms screamed through the air. Security teams ran toward the sealed blast door with weapons and equipment. Commander Veltar stood in front of the massive metal barrier, her purple face pale with worry. Behind her, a crowd had gathered: instructors, cadets, maintenance workers, and medical staff. Everyone wanted to know what had happened inside that room. Hannah Day called out, pressing her crystal hands against the cold metal. "Hannah, can you hear us?" Her harmonic voice created vibrations that passed through the door. If Hannah was alive, she would be able to hear them. Borum paced back and forth with nervous energy. Her centaurian speed made her movements look like blurs. "We have to get in there," she said. "She could be hurt. She could be dying." "The blast doors are locked down," a security officer explained. "They won't open until the emergency systems reset. That could take hours." Minho pushed through the crowd, his hybrid appearance drawing stares. "What about manual override?" "Impossible," the officer replied. "Those doors are designed to contain explosions. They have magnetic locks with the power of a starship engine. Nothing can open them from the outside." Sae Jin stood quietly with her eyes closed, using her telepathic abilities to sense what was happening beyond the barrier. Her face was twisted with concentration and fear. "Well," Bjorn demanded. "What do you feel?" "Pain," Saajin whispered. "So much pain, but also, anger." "Terrible anger. Is she alive?" Day asked. "Yes, but something else is in there with her. Something dangerous." Professor Catherine arrived with several other instructors. His crystal skin was gray with worry, but his eyes showed something else: satisfaction. This was what he had wanted. This was proof that humans were too dangerous for the galaxy. "What happened in there?" Commander Veltar demanded. "Training." "Accident," Catherine said smoothly. "The human was practicing with live weapons. She must have triggered the emergency systems." "That's impossible," Minho said angrily. "Hannah would never use live weapons without supervision." "Humans are unpredictable," Catherine replied. "This incident proves what I have been saying all along." Day's harmonic abilities picked up something new, a sound from inside the room. It was low and deep, like metal under stress. "Do you hear that?" she asked. Everyone went quiet. Through the thick blast door came a sound that should have been impossible: the groaning, creaking noise of metal being bent. "That's not possible," the security officer said. "Those doors are made of reinforced titanium and ceramic composites. They can withstand direct hits from battleship weapons." The sound grew louder. Commander Veltar activated her communicator. "Security to Training Room 7. What is the status of the blast door?" "Unknown, Commander," came the reply. "Our sensors are showing impossible readings. The door appears to be moving. Moving how? It's bending from the inside." A gasp went through the crowd. Everyone pressed closer to the door, trying to hear what was happening. The groaning sound became a scream of tortured metal. Something inside that room was pulling at the blast door with tremendous force. But what could be strong enough to bend reinforced starship armor? "Hannah," Day whispered. Through her harmonic vibrations, she could sense movement on the other side. Something was grabbing the door, finding purchase in the molecular gaps of the metal, and pulling with inhuman strength. The sound of rending metal filled the corridor. Sparks flew from the magnetic lock systems as they overloaded, trying to hold the door closed. Warning lights flashed faster. Computer systems announced structural failure alerts. "Impossible," Catherine breathed. "No living being has that kind of strength." "You don't know humans very well," Minho said grimly. The door began to buckle visibly. A crack appeared along one edge, growing wider as they watched. The massive metal barrier that was supposed to protect the station from explosions was being torn apart from the inside. Security teams backed away as pieces of the doorframe began to break loose. Chunks of metal and ceramic hit the floor with thunderous crashes. "Everyone clear the area," Commander Veltar shouted. "Whatever is happening in there, we need to give it room." But the crowd did not move. They stood frozen, watching something that would be talked about in military academies for generations. They were witnessing the impossible, a single person tearing through technology that entire civilizations could not break. With a final shriek of metal, a section of the blast door ripped free. The gap was large enough for a person to step through. Smoke poured out of the opening. Emergency lighting cast strange shadows. And through the gap came Hannah. She looked like she had been through a war. Her uniform was burned and torn. Blood covered her face and hands. Plasma burns marked her shoulder and chest. Her hair was singed from the near miss to her head. But she was standing, she was walking, and in her hands, she held a piece of the blast door, several tons of twisted metal that she carried like it weighed nothing. The corridor went completely silent. Even the alarms seemed too quiet in the presence of something that defied every law of physics and biology that the galaxy understood. Hannah stepped through the gap and looked around at the crowd. Her eyes found her friend's first day with her crystal skin glowing with relief. Borm vibrating with nervous energy, Minho grinning with pride, and Siagen crying tears of joy. Then her gaze moved to the instructors, to Professor Catherine with his mouth hanging open in shock, to the security officers who had stepped back in fear, to Commander Veltar who was staring at her like she was seeing a ghost. Finally, Hannah looked down at the chunk of metal in her hands. She set it gently on the floor, where it landed with a sound like thunder. "Training complete," she said quietly. Behind her, through the torn doorway, the security teams could see the training room. It looked like a battlefield. Scorch marks covered the walls. Equipment was destroyed, and 3 bodies lay motionless on the floor. The evidence of what had really happened was clear. This had not been a training accident. This had been an assassination attempt, and it had failed spectacularly. Within minutes, news of the incident began to spread throughout the station. Within hours, it reached every world in the galaxy. Within days, the footage would be seen by billions of beings across thousands of planets. Professor Catherine and his conspirators tried to explain what had happened. They claimed Hannah had gone insane, that she had attacked innocent instructors, that this proved humans were too dangerous for civilized society. But the evidence told a different story. The plasma weapons, the blocked communications, the locked door, the edited training recordings found in Cathron's personal files. The conspiracy was exposed for all to see. More importantly, the galaxy had learned something new about humans. They had seen what happened when you cornered one and tried to kill her. They had watched a single human tear through technology that was supposed to be unbreakable. The message was clear. Humans were not victims, they were survivors, and they would not be pushed around by anyone. Standing in that corridor, holding torn metal in her bloody hands, Hannah had not just saved her own life, she had secured humanity's place among the stars. The door she tore open was not just an exit from a training room, it was the entrance to humanity's future in the galaxy. And that future looked very bright indeed.